Good morning. We are going to do a review for Classical Conversations for week 1 for essentials. It's mainly for my kiddos. I'm gonna just put this out there for anyone that may need a little help reviewing what you may have went over in community this week, or maybe you're at home and you don't have community. Just a little bit of help for the kiddos, for the parents. My name is Crystal, and this is my channel, Soulshine Mama. So thanks for stopping by. I hope this is going to be super helpful for you. Our review for Classical Conversations, I know this is glary because it's laminated, but chart A. You should have your chart A at home, so having your chart A right now would be awesome. Just getting that out because that's what we're going to be going over. Our chart A is our master chart, our mothership of charts, our ring of all rings, and that is because all of the other charts that we're going to get into kind of branch off from this or come back to this in some kind of way, and knowing these things are going to help us when we learn to diagram and break down our sentences and look at things more in depth, which is what we're going to be doing very rapidly as we move on week by week. So we'll start with the top of chart A. That is our 4 structures. You cannot see this right here, but our 4 structures. Our 4 structures are simple, compound, complex, and compound complex. And I'll go ahead and show you our little hand motions. I don't have a desk right here, but kiddos, parents, it's fun to beat this one out gently. We're not trying to break the table or our hands. But we would just go simple, compound, complex, compound, complex, simple, compound, complex, compound, complex, simple, compound, complex, compound, complex. That's it. Okay. And as far as a little breakdown of what those mean and what they are, our simple sentence is just going to be a simple, basic sentence with our subject and our predicate. It's going to be a complete sentence, and that's going to be it. And then when you get to your compound sentence, we're going to have a complete thought and another complete thought. So 2 separate standalone sentences in one sentence that are connected by a conjunction or a fanboy, a coordinating conjunction, and, but, or those types of words. So that's what makes it compound. We have 2 complete sentences, complete thoughts, connected with a fanboy or coordinating conjunction. And then our complex, that sentence has 1 complete thought here, 1 complete sentence, and then it's got this thing over here, this other thought that's dependent on this complete one. It can't stand by itself. This one's not a complete sentence. It's a partial sentence, a fragment, a incomplete thought, dependent clause, subordinate clause that has to have this independent clause, this independent sentence, this whole sentence. These together make up your complex sentence. Complex. And then you might guess that a compound complex sentence is going to be compound. You have your 2 complete thoughts, your 2 complete sentences, connected by what? A coordinating conjunction or a fanboy. And then you have your little complex thing over here, this dependent thought or idea or fragmented sentence that cannot stand alone by itself, over here leaning on it, connected, telling you a little bit more about it. So that's going to be your compound complex. So we'll go ahead and do our Hand motions one more time. Help us remember. Beat it out. Simple, compound, complex, compound, complex, simple, compound, complex, compound, complex. Last time, do it with me. Simple, compound, complex, compound, complex. Super great. Awesome. You did it. Now we're going to look at four purposes. Our four purposes, may be a little bit more familiar with those. On our chart A, our four purposes run right along here. And our four purposes are declarative. We're just making a statement, putting it out there, just saying something, declaring it with a period. Then we're going to have our exclamatory, strong emotion, fierce emotion, happy emotion, exclamatory. We need an exclamation point. And then we're going to have our interrogative sentences with a question mark, because we are questioning things. Question, question mark. And then we're going to have our imperative sentence. It is imperative. It is a command. It is a demand. It is imperative that you do this. Please sit down. Take out the trash. Those would be imperative sentences. On our chart, B, forgive. That is our sentence. Forgive. And just a side note, a special little thing you'll notice with an imperative sentence, you do not have a subject there that you can see. All it says is forgive. Please sit down. Take out the trash. Where's that subject? It's understood. We're talking to you, to someone, implied you, understood. So when we get to diagramming, when we would normally have to have our subject or verb when we're trying to break down our sentence and look for our things visually, our subject, verb, subject, predicate, we would put a you over here. We would write you in little parentheses because it's understood that we're talking to you, to someone. So that's just kind of a difference between our imperative sentences generally and our declarative, exclamatory, and interrogative sentences, where you will see visually the subject there. Whether it's a noun or a pronoun, it'll be there. The subject will be there. Imperative, it's probably going to be invisible and you won't see it. So, just so you know, that's a little something different. And then next we have our 7 sentence patterns. 7 sentence patterns. Those are going to be along here on our chart. You have our chart. You will see them there with you. Learning this looks like so much. I know when I first started, I was super overwhelmed just by chart A. And then I'm like, just this one little cluster by itself is overwhelming. Like, what is all this? We'll learn what these things are. But for right now, what's important is just learning the structure, just learning the patterns that we see here, knowing these letters. And then later, once you know these letters, and as we move on just a little bit, we'll learn what all the letters mean. There's a subject, just S, you may have guessed, this is our subject, and then the V is our verb. We'll get into the rest later, but we're going to learn a little ditty, a little tune to sing our 7 sentence patterns. It just helps so much. I've enjoyed that a lot with classical conversations. All the little songs and tunes and hand motions, it really just, when you're learning something, when we see something, we do something, we write something, just the more ways that we can do something, the more ways we're going to have to take it in and remember it. So anyway, it's to the tune of 3 Blind Mice, and we'll just get right into it. 7 sentence patterns. I'll sing it first and then you can do it with me. SVI, SVTDO, SVLPN, SVLPA, SVTIODO, SVTDOOCN, SVTDO, OCA. You like that, Kiki? I don't know if you heard Kiki meow, but she liked that, I think. Now you guys try and do it with me. 7 sentence patterns. SVI, SVTDO, SVLPN, SVLPA, SVTIODO, SVTDOOCN, SVTDO, OCA. Awesome. Let's do it one more time. 7 sentence patterns. SVI, SVTDO, SVLPN, SVLPA, SVTIODO, SVTDOOCN, SVTDO, OCA. Super awesome. Great job. Those are our Chart A main need to know things. If you go ahead and look down onto Chart A a little further, down here in this corner, we'll see our 8 parts of speech. We will do a couple little hand motions to help us learn those. I like the body parts, using the hand. The example, you know, that our hand is a hand. By definition, it is just a hand. Like a noun is a noun, a pronoun's a pronoun, a verb's a verb. But there's lots of different things that we can do with those, and lots of different things that they do, and they aren't just one simple thing. Like this hand, it doesn't just do one thing. We can brush our hair, wash our hair, eat our food, wipe our board, wash our car, put our clothes on. Our hand does a lot of things. So with our 8 parts of speech, we're going to use our hand to do our things. So this is a fun song. The kids seem to really like this one after class. This was the one everybody was kind of singing. Some people want to clap. Some people just want to move a little bit. Whatever you want to do is fine. But it goes like this. 8 parts of speech. 8 parts of speech. Woo! 8 parts of speech. 8 parts of speech. Noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, conjunction, interjection, preposition, adjective. 8 parts of speech. 8 parts of speech. Woo! 8 parts of speech. 8 parts of speech. Pretty cool? I know, right? Okay, so we'll do it again. And you guys try to do it with me. We'll clap this time. 8 parts of speech. 8 parts of speech. Woo! 8 parts of speech. 8 parts of speech. Noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, conjunction, interjection, preposition, adjective. 8 parts of speech. 8 parts of speech. Woo! 8 parts of speech. 8 parts of speech. Okay. We'll do it one more time. Here we go. You ready? 8 parts of speech. 8 parts of speech. Woo! 8 parts of speech. 8 parts of speech. Noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, conjunction, interjection, preposition, adjective. 8 parts of speech. 8 parts of speech. Woo! 8 parts of speech. 8 parts of speech. Okay, that's a fun one. You got to get up and move when you do that one. So that's our 8 parts of speech. And then the last thing on our chart A is our 5 parts of a sentence. This is what we went over, our subject and predicate. Our sentence is going to have a subject and a predicate. Kind of mentioned how we would separate those subject and predicate out. It would just look like this. Separate it out, subject and predicate. Our subject, there's a little tune for that one too. And it goes like this. The subject is that part of a sentence about which something is being said. The subject is that part of a sentence about which something is being said. The predicate. The predicate is that part of a sentence which says something about the subject. The predicate is that part of a sentence that says something about the subject. Okay, so how does that go? What is our subject and our predicate? Subject. Subject is that part about which something is being said. The subject is that part about which something is being said. Predicate. The predicate is that part that says something about the subject. The predicate is that part that says something about the subject. These are things we can identify and will identify when we're looking at our sentences and breaking them down and trying to figure out, is it a simple? Is it a compound? Is it a complex? Is it a compound complex? And when we're trying to figure out our patterns, we will be evaluating these things, but yeah, subject, predicate. Those are things we need to know. Put those on there for some of our terms that we need to look at and understand, all related to, again, Chart A. And what else? So 5 parts of a sentence. Our subject and our predicate. Our sentence needs to start with what? A capital letter. At the end of our sentence, to make it a sentence, it needs to have what? An end mark. One of our declarative, exclamatory, interrogative, or imperative end marks. And a complete sentence needs to make complete sense. It's a sentence. It's got to make sense. That's it. So that is really all that you need to be working on. Chart A, the basics of Chart A, understanding Chart A, practicing Chart A. You can do copying. I put, I can't even think right this second. I put charts in my kiddos' class and at home binders. The completed charts, because that's what we're going to be looking at mostly in class. In sheet protectors, they're just to keep them, in good standing while we're using them all year, and at home while they're using them. But at home, you kiddos should have your student packets, which have your blank charts, and this is where you can go to copy. Hopefully they're in sheet protectors, or your parents may want to have, printed out papers so you can just write on them. We put ours in sheet protectors so that we could do the copy work with the dry erase marker, wipe it off, and then just reuse those instead of printing paper and printing more paper. So copying Chart A, that's a great way to practice it. And to start with, yes, you probably want to have your student binder opened, your student class binder with your chart, or a copy of the chart that's filled in, and then you can look at that while you fill in the blanks. Once you get comfortable with that, and you're comfortable with your songs and your chants, and you feel like you remember a good bit of Chart A, you can just get that blank chart out by itself and fill it in. Fill in what you can remember. Try to fill in all of it. Just fill in what you can remember. Then you can open it back up when you're done. See the things that you maybe forgot or couldn't remember and fill those in. That's a great way to practice. Trying to think. Chart B. Looking at Chart B. Really, that's all you're going to do with Chart B right now is just look at it. Say, oh, this is simple. These say simple. Let me look at these. Okay, right. They're simple. There's no coordinating conjunction. There's no comma and 2 complete thoughts. It's just one thought, one sentence. It's simple. Okay. Oh, I see it says, declarative and exclamatory and interrogative. And I see my imperative. I see my different purposes and structures here. I see this. Patterns. The patterns are on there from Chart A. You'll see the different sentences. So again, just looking at it, excuse me, and The one thing that you can practice if you want to do something with chart B, practicing your subject and predicate, recognizing those, putting your little line between the subject and the predicate. And for this one, it is pretty simple. Our simple sentences. Jesus is generally going to be your subject. Jesus is your subject. And everything else in that sentence is your predicate. It's what is being said about Jesus, about your subject. So looking at and recognizing that, that's all you need to do with chart B. You can practice putting your lines between your subject and your predicate, or just recognizing this is my subject, this is my predicate. This is my subject, this is my predicate. That's it. So chart A, practice, essentials, your terms, your vocabulary, your chart A. That's it. Some parents may want to do spelling. If they don't have a spelling program, there's spelling words provided in your essentials curriculum. You may work on those with your kiddos. You may do some of the editing that's also in the student packet. Those things are optional. Like if that's, you want to get into more and do those things, that's up to you guys. And then the other thing that we went over week 1 is our writing. So that's what essentials is. We do our grammar, then we do our math games, and then we're going to do our writing. And for week 1, our group, we did units 1 and 2 and lessons 1 and 2, which I did have up here, and I didn't write that this time, but anyway, lesson 1 and 2 in our medieval history based writing lessons book. And we just kind of reviewed lesson 1 a little bit, and then moved right on to lesson 2, because that's where we're actually doing our writing from. And they were both just an introduction to our structure and style, and then an introduction to keyword outlining, how to keyword outline, like what is a keyword outline, what does it look like, how do I create one, because that is what we're learning in our writing is how to structure our writing, and then how to make our writing interesting and fancy and dress it up, our style. So as far as keyword outlining goes, just briefly, it is looking at our source text, and we start off with a paragraph. So super simple, just one paragraph. It may have had eight or 9 sentences, and we just start with our first sentence. First line of our keyword outline, first sentence. What you're aiming to do is to look at that sentence and pull out the key words, the important words, the words that are going to help you remember what that sentence was about, and be able to put those words on your keyword outline. And at the end of dissecting each sentence like that, you want to be able to close up that source text and just look at your keyword outline and just have a few words. We said 3 to 4 words max. You can use little symbols and abbreviations, but 3 to 4 words max. And then that's because you don't want to plagiarize or copy work, or word for word. We can't do that. We're not supposed to do that. It's a retelling in our own words. So again, we have our few keywords with our symbols, abbreviations, so that we can look at that sentence and create a sentence about that same thing in our own words. And that's what we're doing for each one. That is what our keyword outline is. That's how it should work. If you have your keyword outline out and your source text is away and closed, and you can't understand make a sentence out of that makes sense, that is telling something similar about this story in your own words, then you probably need to open that source text back up and reevaluate that line of your keyword outline if you're having trouble somewhere, and maybe tweak it a little bit, change it a little bit if you need to. And that is it. Then we're gonna take that keyword outline, we're gonna create a rough draft. Well, verbally we should be able to say, oh, I can make this sentence, I can make this sentence. And then with our rough draft, we will write out our sentences that we've made, create our rough draft, retell our story in our own words using our keyword outline. And then when you do that, leave space. On your notebook paper, when you're writing it out, at least skip a space in between each line, so that once you've got your rough draft written out, when you go back to add your dress ups or to try to make your story a little more fun, a little more interesting, a little more vivid, and paint that picture for your readers, which is our goal, to learn to do that, to learn to organize our writing, and then to make it dressed up and nice and fancy and vivid and exciting for our readers. Leave space for that. So you'll do your rough draft, leave your space, dress it up, change things, fix things how you want them. And then if you choose to, or your parent, teacher chooses to have you rewrite it, you can rewrite it out one more time. And then if not, you could go ahead and type it. If you're going to type it, go ahead and type it up. And you'll want to possibly leave a little extra space when you do that. Get your format, which is in your appendix in the back of your book. It tells you where to go to look at your MLA format to type up your paper in this organized fashion. And you could leave a little space, extra space the first time if you need to, but I believe it's already spaced enough. You'll have to just look at the outline and look at the MLA format, and you may be able to just do it as is and have room if you need to mark it up one more time, go through and fix or correct anything. For us, I found that it worked best to print out our final thing once we thought we were done, once we first typed it up. Go ahead and print it out, visually be able to look at it and go over and read it. If there were any corrections that needed to be made, do it then. If there weren't, they were great, well, good to go, you're done. But it's hard sometimes to make those corrections and even notice them so much when you're looking at it on the computer. So it's, again, up to you. That's just what I found, or we found, that worked better for us. But that's it. And then you have your checklist there. You'll see, make sure you got everything. I sent my parents a link to the checklists for each lesson, so you'll have it there to print out. And once you've got your final draft, your checklist is completed, you know that you've got the things that you need, you can just arrange that stuff just as it says on your checklist. You'll have your checklist, final draft, rough draft, and your keyword outline. Get those together in the kiddo's student class binder. There's a divider pocket in the back of their binder that's got a space that they can just stick their completed work to bring to class on Monday, and that's it. Other than working on their paper, there's a few exercises after the keyword outline that you guys will do in your workbook right there in your Medieval History-Based Writing Lessons book. And then in the very back, we have our spelling word or vocabulary word, little cards with definitions, studying those, and trying to use some of those in your keyword outline. Sorry, not your keyword outline, but your rough draft. And your final draft, trying to use some vocabulary words. That's the other thing we want to aim to do. But that's really it. Keyword outline. Figuring out a keyword outline and writing a paragraph and organizing our papers and getting those turned in and studying our vocabulary words. And that's it for IEW this week. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you guys have a great week. And I apologize that I didn't get to get this out sooner, but just let me know if you have any questions, comments, and I look forward to making some more videos to help you guys out, and I will see you later.